Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Two Unholy Healers live stream podcast. I am Colleen O'Brien. This is my co host, Keryn Lee. Together, we are both energy healers, we are published authors, we are solopreneurs, and we meet every other week to talk about energy healing, to talk about running a healing business, things that a lot of professional healers may not necessarily talk about publicly a lot, as well as just about our own personal experiences, how we use the tools that we've learned and we've practiced just to be human beings on this earth, particularly now. Because the crazy is dialed up pretty high. We are recording this on, it's January 22nd, where I am here in America. It is the 23rd already, where Keryn is in Australia. And so whenever you find this, perhaps the level of crazy isn't nearly as high as it is right now. Wouldn't that be great? But at any point that you find this video, we hope that you find it helpful and, can hopefully feel better, be able to navigate whatever the times are that you're experiencing. So thanks so much for being here. And Keryn, where do you want to start?
Yeah, it's a lot. And welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. It's really interesting what you're saying about, what's going on at the moment. And I think this has been building for a couple of years now, and we're really kind of at a peak. Last year was crazy for a lot of people. I think we've still got some more crazy coming. And when I say that in terms of energy, movement, consciousness, and all that, and what's happening on the planet, and just in my own work through the clients that I'm seeing and that sort of thing, so many people are experiencing things that they just haven't before. Like, I've worked with some people, on and off for years, and they're coming up with sometimes major issues or things that you would never expect, like, another healer or something like that to have happen. But it's like there's no, what's the word, when there's no discrimination. It's like it doesn't really matter where you are or what you're doing. Shit's going down for people at the moment. And so one of the things that Collean and I have had to kind of navigate over the last few years is using the tools that we've learned in the past and even now, whenever, to help create more ease and help to navigate what we're going through. And we both have our own stories with that. But for myself, I'll just dive into a little bit, which was really at the height of my healing career business. I got to a point where I achieved all the things that I wanted to achieve. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, I'm bored. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And there was this kind of real turbulence, and it was like, what do you mean you don't want to do this anymore? This is all you've wanted for decades, like my whole life has been focused in this direction. Well, looking at that all a couple of years later now, it wasn't that I didn't want to be doing that anymore. It's just that I had to restructure everything. Everything kind of just crumbled in a way so that I could rebuild it, but from a completely different space. So my business doesn't now look what it used to look like 2 years ago, because 2 years ago I would have to say that an amount of that business was based on what we would see as common business practices. This is how it's done. This is how you do this. There was all this formula. And I did do energy work with it. I definitely was creating energetically as well. But now it's just so free flow, and it's like, nah, I don't want to do that. And so I just don't do it. Whereas before I would have gone, oh no, I've got to do that. You have to put in the effort, oh, you're responsible for people. You have, all of this crap. And now it's just, no, that's not fun for me today. I'm going to do what's fun for me. And so, yeah, my business looks completely different. There's a lot more ease. It's still becoming, it's still evolving. But the most important part is I've used specific tools to help me find my way through that, because the first year of it was really, I'm drowning, someone save me. But of course we have to save ourselves. So it came to the point where, I found some tools. We'll talk about the tools in a little while. Found some tools and was able to start navigating this in a different way. Now, that's my story. Colleen has her own. You guys all have your own story. And whatever that may be for you, we'll be sharing today some of the tools that we use and that may be helpful for you. Just, some simple, easy things that you can do to help shift energy, change the trajectory of something, and just bring more balance into your lives.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Keryn, for sharing that. Because I've watched you. I've watched you build your business up. I've watched you restructure the whole thing. And I've said on other podcasts that, I'd be there like, oh yeah, that's great. And inside I'm like, what the heck is she doing? Like, if this were me, I would be like, yeah, I've had plenty of my own moments as well. And sometimes I do feel like I'm a little ahead of the curve. Like I'm feeling things preemptively, so that when everybody else, is like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I did that 2 weeks ago. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So, but it still, as an experience of going through it, is not fun. But it's really about perspective. It's really taught me a lot about perspective, right? As we've talked on this podcast before, I no longer do healing professionally. I closed that business. I felt like I had to walk away, and I did grieve it. It really felt awful for a while, but I could have chosen to stay in that energy and just sort of marinate in it, or I could choose to feel better. A lot of times we think emotions just happen, and sometimes you do get that reaction, but ultimately your mood is a choice. So you can choose to be happy or you can choose to be miserable, but you get to choose. And there's always something for you to put your attention on that can help you. Now, a lot of it is an inside job, right? Like, you don't have to look outside of yourself to have something to feel better on, but it's easier sometimes to do that.
Yeah.
But that is what I keep reminding myself. Pay attention to where you're paying attention. And it's why, particularly recently, since the summer, I've been not watching corporate owned news media. I had pulled back a lot of my use of social media when I had stepped back from, running my business as a professional healer. So that is going to continue as well, because I don't necessarily need to be triggered by the minutia of all of the alarm bells that are really just distraction. Not to say that there isn't very important things going on, and I am aware of them, but I don't have to be in the details. And that's something that I choose. I am actively doing something. And that's the other thing that's really great about that, about making a choice, is then you feel like you have control over it.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that we don't have control over. But being able to do things, take small steps, is and just reminding yourself and amplifying that, I find is very empowering.
Yeah, I love that, what you said about choice. Like we choose how we feel, and even if you wake up and maybe you're not feeling great or something, you can wallow in that and like, oh, I feel really bad today. Oh, I've got to go, blah blah blah. Or you can make the choice, what? I'm going to choose to feel great today. Now, even if you're not well and you're laying in bed and you need to be there for your body, if the mindset, the where your mind is at makes the difference. If you just take some nice deep breaths and really connect in with your body and just get some oxygen in your body and just get that relaxation happening, or you might want to listen to a meditation or whatever, but you go into a space where something that's going to bring you might go walk in nature, whatever it is, you do something that's going to align with that choice that I'm actually going to feel good today, or I'm going to be happy today, or whatever it is that you want to choose, despite whatever is going on around you or in your body. And that choice can literally have the most dynamic results beyond just that moment of trying to make yourself feel a bit better. It literally changes what can occur, the possibilities that are available to you for that day and beyond,
And you've got to remember too, it doesn't have to be this huge step. It could be like a little baby step. It's not like from like, oh my God, everything sucks, to life is wonderful. Sometimes that's a little bit too much of a whiplash of a change. So just take those little steps. And I love walking out in nature as well. Right now it's the middle of winter. It is below freezing outside, and it has been all week. Now, I could bundle up and walk outside, or
don't do it, girlfriend. Don't do
it. Or I could march in place in my living room. I could listen to music. I do.
You could come visit us in Australia. Get nice and warm.
Well, that is how we met. We met almost exactly 5 years ago, because it was January of 2019.
Oh my goodness, 5 years! Wow. Yeah. That was in Gold Coast in Queensland.
Yep. Oh my God, that was so much fun. Because I would take pictures of the ocean and to send them back to my friends here and be like, oh, did you have to scrape ice off your car this morning? Because this is what I got to do today.
I love it. But see, there's a simple thing like a photo, and I want to differentiate between the whole like Pollyanna positive vibe and when you're trying to convince yourself that you're happy. It's not that. It's when you make the choice that I'm just going to feel better today. I'm going to put my attention on things that make me feel better. It's not trying to lie to yourself. It's actually just, no, I'm choosing a different reality for today. And then you let the universe come in to support that, instead of wallowing.
Right. And particularly, again, Keryn and I are not, medical professionals, but if you have something really going on, acknowledging that and taking care of that is a positive choice.
Exactly.
So it's not like, oh, just ignore it and it'll go away.
Yeah, sometimes action is required, but from a place of like, what does my body require, rather than, oh my God, I'm dying or something like that, like keeping out of the drama.
And what is your intention, right? Like, you could make the same action but have completely different energy and emotions behind it. So I've been watching a number of YouTube channels recently where people are recommending, stocking up on essentials, because they're predicting that costs are going to go up. Now, again, I am not a financial advisor, neither is Keryn. And I'm like, well, that's probably not a bad idea in general, to be prepared. But if I were to make that decision and take that action, and it was based on fear, like, oh my God, there's going to be shortages and I'm not going to be able to afford this later, and just, almost have a sense of hoarding. And again, those of us who remember 2020, when everybody had to have toilet paper, we remember what that was like. But that's not going to feel good. Now, I could still have a very stocked pantry. I could still be very prepared. But if I was still in that fear state versus the, hey, this feels good, that I know I'm setting myself up for success for later and just in case, or, hey, I'm only going to buy food that I'm actually going to eat no matter what the economic conditions are.
Yeah.
Rather than buying a whole bunch of, shelf stable food that'll last 100 years that I'm never going to eat no matter how old I get.
Exactly. Exactly. And
So
the other thing is you also live in a place where it snows. So there's always a potential of, being snowed in for a while and making sure that you have, some of those extra things just in case. Whereas we don't have that in Australia, or certainly not anywhere near me. So it's like it's based on that practicality as well, not the fear.
Right. And, you bring up a good point about weather, too. There are portions of, the United States that do have, like a lot of food in their basement. Not that they're necessarily preppers per se, like, oh
Yeah.
my God, there's going to be a disaster and I got to have a go bug out bag and all this other stuff. But yeah, if there's, tornadoes or hurricanes or stuff where they're not going to have power, or, they've lived through times when there hasn't been the resources available, or, with trees not being cleared to get out, even if there was food, there's like, well, I can't actually access the store because I can't get that far. So, you can be practical, you can be logical, but again, what is your emotional state? What are you choosing to do? Because if you're doing it out of fear and anxiety and, or depression, well, depression doesn't usually come with a whole lot of action.
Yeah.
But sometimes taking an action will help. Like recently, I cleaned my oven for the first time in 4 years. And it just felt so good to have a clean
Yeah.
oven. And it's such a simple thing. And again, cleaning, a lot of people are just like, oh, I don't want to do that. It is a little bit like exercise. You do have to move your body. You do have to be involved. You get to have the result of a clean house. And it does change the energy. Like it just psychologically, it does help. There are scientific studies about how cleaning can help. But again, it's a simple thing. It's a simple choice. And I clearly, like, things have to get pretty bad for me to actually take action when it comes to cleaning. And again, that's a low stakes thing, right? But there are other conditions, economically, physically, etc., that sometimes have to get really, really bad before somebody takes action. And I would encourage you to notice sooner. Notice sooner, tune into your feelings, hone your intuition, right? Because you're getting those signals. Hey, we can do something about this. Hey, this doesn't feel great. So that it doesn't have to be the alarm bell screaming at you before you do something.
Yeah, and I think just to share a couple of tools, one is to ask the question, like, is this energy even mine? So because we are picking up from other people, from the planet all the time, and just to ask, oh, is this energy even mine? Like, you're feeling a bit down or fatigued, or oh, is that me? Oh, no, it's not. Let it go. You can just acknowledge it and simply let the energy go. The other thing I really like that I use all the time is just asking questions, because when you ask a question, you're literally engaging the universe to support you, not a specific question. So, hey, universe, what would it take to change this? Hey, universe, what else is possible here? They're my favorites. You got something going on. Okay, what would it take to change this? How can I change this? What else is possible? What would it take to have more fun today? Or I know you don't like that question. You prefer the what would it be like if I had more fun today, or something like that.
It's funny. I usually don't like the what would it take, but as you said that, I was neutral about it. I didn't have that, that I usually have when you said that.
Yeah, I get that. And because I know how you sort of felt about it in the past, but that's okay, because we're all where we're at any moment. So you do what resonates with you, obviously. But for me, the what would it take is, it's like asking the universe to respond, to provide like a possibility, an idea, just something that just kind of opens up a possibility. And then you have the choice whether to take action on that or not. And in a way, the very, very same thing happened when when we restarted this podcast for season 2. I asked a question, and then I happened to be speaking to Collean the next day, and she said, hey, why don't we do the podcast again? And the energy was really light. So there I asked the universe, an opportunity came up that matched the energy, and then I had the choice whether to proceed or not. So it's really light to me to ask questions in that way, that I would encourage everyone to do that. Even if you're in a place where you're so stuck and you just don't know what's going on, what else is possible? What else is possible? What else is possible? What else is possible? Just ask it a few times over, ask it throughout the day, because I've literally seen stuff change like that, like literally almost reverse itself, just through asking that question. Don't go looking for an answer. You're basically just inviting the universe to support you. So
yeah, it's an
my favorites.
Ended question,
Yes,
so
yes.
rather than, well, what is it, what is the answer, what is the,
Yes,
very
yes.
deterministic. It's an open-ended question.
Yeah.
And if I could plug the video that Keryn and
Yes.
I recorded,
yes, absolutely,
just very recently, about healings and energy clearings, you'll see that on the channel. You can watch that. That is full of questions to open up your mind, to open you up to the energy, to the possibilities. And then we also have included some energy healings as well in that recording to help clear those blocks and open you up to even more possibilities. So there's another tool for you to use that is available right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. And so it's already done for you in a way. And once you listen to those questions, it will also give people an idea of the questions they can ask in their own time. You don't have to listen to the video all the time. Can we put that in the like the notes for this?
Yes, we'll put it in the show notes. We'll add it to the pinned comment so that
and
it's
when
really
I say
easy to find.
I mean Colleen. Since she's the maestro with all of that.
Now, Keryn is also very technical. So many of our thumbnails Keryn has designed. It's very much a partnership between the two of us, which I love, and it just makes it that much more fun. So how much more fun can we have? You can always have fun no matter how crazy the time is, no matter how weird the world gets. You can always find something good, something positive, something to focus on to make you feel better and elevate your vibration.
Yeah, and just to, throughout the day, take a few moments every now and then to just stop. Okay, what am I focusing on? What am I feeling in my body? Because you might notice that you've got a lot of tension, but you're so busy trying to do something else that you're actually not noticing how you're feeling or what's going on. But just take a moment. Even a couple of deep breaths can just make a huge difference. And also recognizing that you're not alone in all of this. There's so many people on the planet all going through the same thing, but we do need to really keep our own energy balanced as much as we can to stay in that really creative mindset. I'm not going to use the word positive, that creative mindset, instead of going into the negative and buying into all the drama. So
and feel free to experiment, right? Don't take our words for it. Try it yourself. Try something that you like. A lot of times people will be like, this is it, this is the answer, this is the process, and then you're like, I'm not feeling it, so find something else, right? Put it in
the notes, not the notes, the like post underneath the video or whatever you do. So if you have some great ideas that you can share with others.
So that we can share and try things out. And I love that. Brilliant.
Awesome. Well, we're on 25 minutes just about, or 24 minutes. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We're super grateful that you come in and watch the videos later and support the channel. And we would love to see you again in 2 weeks' time for whatever it is we're talking about in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, mystery topic again.
Mystery topic.
So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in a fortnight.
Bye, everyone.